Cardistry is an art, a skill, or whatever you want to call it. My point is, very few people in the world are able to do it in a smooth, mesmerizing way, and today I'll be attempting to learn it in just 7 days. The skills I'll be attempting is the card spring, civil cut, and last but not least, the worm. The card spring is arguably the coolest trick, which is why I wanted to try it first, but as you can see, I had no idea what I was doing, so I failed again, and again. Basically, I just trying to mimic what other people did on the internet, but as you can see, it just wasn't working. Next is the civil cut. I had no idea how to do this one, so I had to look it up, and to say the least, it's complicated. And I had to figure out how all my fingers work together to move around the packets, but after a few attempts, to my surprise, I think I had it. But I still knew I had a lot to improve, so I kept going because it was unsmooth. Last but not least is the worm. Just like the civil cut, I had no idea how to do it, so I had to look it up. If I'm being honest, I was very discouraged to do this one because of how complicated it looked, but after learning it and giving it a few attempts, to my surprise, it's not actually that difficult. If anything, it's easier than the civil cut. I grinded the worm more than the card spring and the civil cut, and what gave me this motivation was that it looked just as cool as the civil cut and the card spring, and it felt twice as easy. For the next couple of days, I was just going to focus on technique. If I was going to get this in 7 days, then I might as well do it in a smooth, clean manner. For the card spring, there are 3 things I was focusing on. First, I was using half the deck so it doesn't feel too big in my hands when I'm practicing. Secondly, I'm shooting 1 card at a time to control the tension and pressure when I'm shooting the cards from one hand to the other. And for the third part of the technique, I was focusing on catching the cards. I know it sounds easy, but trust me, when you watch professionals do it, they do it in such big range of motion and they don't drop a single card. But the issue with me is I'm dropping more than 1 card. So if I was gonna nail the card spring, I was gonna make sure I don't drop any cards. In terms of complexity, the civil cut doesn't compare to the card spring. For the card spring, you can sort of just look at it and try it out yourself and you'll sort of have it, except the cards will fly everywhere. But for the civil cut, you can't even try it just by looking at it. The first step is more of a pre-step, is where you figure out the hand grip. For your left hand, you have the straddle grip. With the help of the right hand, you go into a Z grip. And from there, you split the middle packet into 2 smaller packets, and you should have half a packet with your left hand and 3 small packets with your right hand. And that's the grip you start with before you begin the civil cut. And for the first step, you grab one of the middle packets with your thumb and middle finger of your left hand, and then you bring it under and around, and that's where the second step happens, where you grab that exact packet but with the middle, ring, and pinky of the right hand. This was the part where I struggled with the most. I just kept dropping the packets and I felt like the fingers on my right hand were just too weak. But aside from this, moving on to the last step, you split the top packet that you're holding with your right thumb and index into another small packet, and then you grab it with the middle and thumb of your left hand. And then from there, you're supposed to hold it out and then close it. The technique for the worm is honestly not too difficult. For the first step, you're going to go into a Z grip just like the civil cut, except your fingers are in a slightly different position this time. And from there, for the right-handed people, you're going to use your index finger and you're going to extend the top card. With your left hand, you're going to use your left pinky and you're going to grab onto that card, and it's going to look like a square formation from there. I know it doesn't look like the worm I showed you in the intro of the video, and that's because I left out the last part. The last part was the coolest part, and I assumed it was the most complicated part, so for now I'm just grinding the basics, just grinding the square formation. I've been grinding the basics for the past few days, so I'm ready to put it all together now. I was pretty confident that I would get it in the next few tries, but like learning any new skill, you fail. Not just once, but a lot. I'm not even sugarcoating it, these 2 days were probably the hardest days of the challenge. I already practiced the technique for the past 3 days, so I wasn't going to waste any time. I was just trying to grind the card spring, civil cut, and worm from start to finish. I don't usually quit or give up during challenges like this one, but I'll get very frustrated if I don't see results. It felt pointless to keep trying and make little progress or no progress. To be blunt, it hurts to fail. But I heard somewhere that if you keep rolling a die, you'll eventually get the number that you want. So I gotta keep going. And everything changed when day 7 rolled around. Day 7 has finally rolled around, and it feels great to say that all the work I've been doing has finally paid off. Some say you could do these skills with a bit of luck in your hands, but to prove it's completely skills, I'm gonna do each one 3 times in a row. And you might be wondering, the card spring I'm doing here isn't nearly as cool as the one I've shown you in the intro of the video. And speaking with complete honesty, you can only learn so much within 7 days, even with hours and hours of practice. And for the Sybil cut, it also feels good to be able to do it without messing up. And yes, I will address the fact again that it's not as cool as the person as I've shown you in the intro of the video, since they probably have years and years of experience while I've only been doing it for 7 days. So yes, I will cut myself a little bit of slack. I did feel a little nervous doing the Sybil cut a second time, since I did find it a little more difficult than the card spring, and that's why it ended up being a little sloppy, as you can see. But I let myself have this one because I have been grinding for the past 6 days, but it kind of backfired. I'll let the third time play itself. You know what they say? Second time's a charm, so here we go again.
Three times. We'll do one more time.
Finally, the worm. Remember how I said I was only going to focus on the square formation? Well, it turns out the last part isn't actually too difficult. If anything, it was the easiest part of the technique. And because of this, it actually made it fun for me. The worm is definitely not as difficult as the Sybil cut, and I'm even gonna say it's probably easier than the card spring. I'm actually really happy with the progress I've made within the past 7 days with the worm. To be completely honest, I thought I wouldn't get anywhere with these skills on day 1 because of how complicated it looked. But I learned throughout the challenge that if you show up daily, put in the effort, if you put in the practice, you'll get tremendous results. You can achieve just about anything, with any craft. At least, that's what I learned from this challenge. Because I was able to get the worm 3 times in a row on the first attempt, I decided why not do all these 3 skills back to back to back, just for fun. I had a little extra time on day 7, so why not? I'll just let the clips play itself. Even though I was proud of myself after those 7 days of becoming relatively good at cardistry, I thought to myself, is it realistic to learn a skill in 7 days? And my honest answer is yes. Yes, you can. If you grind the basics and the fundamentals for 7 days, if you put in the time and the effort, you will definitely see results. But if we're talking about mastery, that's another story. Mastery takes years and years and years of dedicated practice towards your skill or craft. If you guys enjoyed the video, you're welcome. I hope this made your day a bit better. Peace.